He's an outstanding judge, sober-headed, has demonstrated over time that she's a stickler to the law. She chairs the Law Council. I hope that she will find it within her power to revisit the decision of the Law Council, because the decision of the Law Council has waded the Law Council into murky waters of the politics of the case. I didn't think she should have, or the Law Council should have taken that route. I remain optimistic that they will revisit this decision. And I hope they can also invite the President of the Law Society, who is by law a member of Law Council. Yes. He has publicly stated that he was maliciously excluded from the meeting that considered the decision of whether to issue or not to issue a special certificate of practice to the Honorable Senior Counsel Martha Karua. I really pray that they will revisit that decision.
So you are agreeing with me that there is a law which says that the President of Uganda Law Society is also automatically a member of the Law Council, but he was not invited.
He wasn't invited.
So is that the lacuna of the law?
So I really do pray that, Lady Justice, if you're listening or if you listen to this recording, you revisit that decision of the Law Council. It is taking the Law Council into murky waters, and it doesn't look good. It just looks ugly.
Thank you very much.
The same thing applies to the trial of Dr. Kizza Besigye in the General Court Martial. There cannot be any semblance of justice for a civilian in a General Court Martial. We've stated this time and again. You can even tell the body language of the people on the court martial. As the lawyers were submitting, nobody was writing. They looked disinterested. Arms folded, mouth twisted. Right?
Calling them rhetorics.
There is really no semblance of justice in that courtroom for any civilians. There is even worse abuse of fundamental due process for soldiers. I did a study for the Uganda Human Rights Commission and the UN Human Rights Office when they were still here on justice in the military court. Even for military serving officers, that place is a hellhole for all of them. So it's even much more difficult for a civilian. So the trial of Dr. Kizza Besigye in the General Court Martial is shrouded with illegalities, and I think that we owe it to this country, and in particular Dr. Kizza Besigye and his co-accused, Haji Obed Kamleger, to take away that case from the military. If they committed any crime, follow due process, take them to a civilian court, and use that evidence. What's happening in that court is shameful, and I think, in my view, unlawful. And finally, on what the country needs, Honorable Minister wants a discussion. This country does not need a discussion, because it's talking about, come let's slice and dice the piece of the cake. This country needs a national dialogue. This country is hurting. In his own village, young children were killed and dropped in burning huts and fires and killed by this government. The commander of that operation was promoted. He's now in a higher office. No accountability. Instead, it is the victims, his king, their guards, domestic servants who spent years in prison on accusations that have no merit. People in the streets were killed by this government in the last election in an extrajudicial killing, where President Museveni admitted to killing 54. Our research and investigation revealed there were more than 54. By the time of my arrest, we had recorded 158 people killed. No justice whatsoever. This country is hurting. The families of those children that the soldiers killed on the streets, the families of those people in Kasese who were killed by the government, cannot feel the value that the professor is talking about. I just came back from Karamoja. Every time I come back from Karamoja, my heart bleeds. It just seemed to be a world of its own. They cannot feel the value of Uganda. We need a national dialogue to restore that common belief in a country called Uganda. Otherwise, it seems Uganda is for others, while the rest of us suffer, while the minister drives in his large taxpayer-funded SUV. A woman in Karamoja is dying because there's no health center. The child in Karamoja is not going to school, he's going without food, while the minister can afford to fly out of the country for medical treatment. We cannot feel the value of this country unless we develop that, what Councillor David Mpanga calls the central nervous system, to feel the pain of others.